Hello, beautiful artisans. Welcome to my channel, Echo Art with Carmella-T. Thank you for having a cup of coffee with me. You know, from the time I started this video to now, I've warmed this coffee up probably 4 times. And we have a major thunderstorm starting out there. So the heat is starting to break up. And so with that, I start this video out sharing with you the yo-yo quilt that I completed. That's just a few minutes. It's lovely. I love the way it came out. And then the rest of the video, I'm sharing with you my baby steps into my next project of needle felting a brown bear. Now, just like with my polar bears, I always do research on the anatomy of something that I'm not familiar with. For example, I could probably sit down and needle felt a cat or a dog, just kind of by image. I am very familiar with cats and dogs. But when it comes to something like a wild animal that I haven't seen up close, I'm not familiar with, I like to get detail. Like with these polar bears, their heads are a little bit smaller than what a head would be to the ratio of the body. And they're a little bit flatter, and the ears are rounder, the eyes are rounder, and you almost see a triangular shape to their face, compared especially to the brown bear and to our black bear. Our black bear is much smaller. So now I've been studying the anatomy a little bit on the brown bear, and I'm going to share that with you in this video. So with that, it's kind of new to me too. We don't have brown bears that I've seen anyway up here in Vermont. But we have bears, you know, that we see bears up here quite frequently, to tell you the truth, nowadays. So, but with that, I will let you enjoy the video. And if you have any questions, there's something specific you'd love to ask me, I'd love to hear from you. Oh, and I want to say that I am so grateful for all my viewers who do watch this channel. You're already here, and I'm welcoming the new viewers. And I love all of you, and I love that you're sharing your comments and suggestions. I take them all to heart. I really do. And you're my compass. So with that, I hope that you enjoy this, and we will very quickly be getting to a part 2 for the brown bear. And today's Wednesday, so I'm going to say tomorrow you're going to see a significant jump in where we're at for the brown bear, because what I did in this video is in real time. So I'm going to be off camera and kind of, you know, working tonight and in the morning, and then we'll see, and then I'll share with you part 2 on how far we've gotten. So with that, you have a beautiful day. Hope you enjoy this video. Much love and light. Thank you. Well, hello, beautiful artisans. I am so excited to share with you how the yo-yo quilt came out. It's adorable. And I want to thank everybody for their suggestions. You know, somebody was suggesting to put a backing on it. I was thinking of that. However, and I'm still thinking of it. If I did a backing, I would do back to back. So I'm kind of giving that some thought, but I'm just kind of marinating in where this is at now. Now check this out. It's adorable. I laid it over on my couch. And of course I have my art piece up on the wall, but this is what it's looking like laid out. And all the yo-yos are sewn on, hand sewn with tie knotting. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go back over to my art table, and I will hold it up and kind of move it around and just show you how durable it is and just how adorable it really is. So, and then we'll get into the needle felting. So we'll see you over there. Okay, well, hi everyone. So we are over here at the art table. I'm finishing up my coffee and getting ready to share some awesome information with you about brown bears. So before I do a project such as like my polar bears back here, I always study about the anatomy. Now, the reason I do that is because I found very quickly, or at least over the years of my experience, is I don't know what I'm doing unless I have an idea of the structure of the thing that I'm making, whatever it is I'm making, then I can get creative from the base. So, for example, with polar bears, their heads are just a little bit smaller than a head that would go to the size of that body. And the top of it is a little flatter. So you can make that in different ways. And then their ears are round and their hind legs are higher than their front legs. Different little anatomy tips like that really help you. Plus, knowing their habitat, what they eat, things like this really help your creative process. So, with that, what I'm going to do is share with you some information of what I've learned about the brown bear and the sources. And then I will show you the beautiful wool that I'm going to be working with and why it goes so perfectly with this project. So, from that, we'll start here. Oh, and I do also want to preface this with if you can go to Google or you have a book on bears, which I do, I got from the thrift shop long ago because I love bears. But, or you have a really good image of a bear, study that image. Um, because that will help you along the way. The visual and then having the facts on the structure and all of it will help you. I was really searching for an image I could share with you today, and I would say Google is the best. Just Google the bear, and from there you'll have a lot of different, and Pixels will have different images of bears. But for me to share them, I have to get the license. Some of them are copywritten. I think the brown bear is very popular, I'm going to be honest. But with this, I will share with you. So there are approximately, and this is from Four Paws. I'm sorry, it's from Four Paws USA.org. So it is a nonprofit, it is legit. And the next info I share with you on the physical part of the bear, a little bit there, is from San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance Library. So, anyway, with that, there are approximately 200,000 brown bears worldwide. So they're found in North America, Asia, and Europe, with the largest population being in Russia. So I don't know why I find that interesting. Um, because I guess I wasn't really privy to the habitat. There are roughly 30,000 brown bears in the United States. This is what I thought, yes, most of them are in Alaska. And only around 1,500 are in the contiguous 48 states. Now, are they in Vermont? Not that we at least know Vermont to be known for the black bear. Have I ever seen a brown bear in Vermont? No. I've only seen black bears in Vermont. In North America, there are at least two subspecies of brown bears, the grizzly bear and what they call the Kodiak bear. So this is interesting because seriously, between you and I don't know if you knew, but I didn't realize that a grizzly bear was a brown bear. I knew that the brown bears are pretty hefty in their structure, but I didn't realize it was actually a grizzly. The brown bear reaches weight between 300 to 1,200 pounds, depending on the age, the sex, and the season. And I'm going to read to you the different sizes over here in a moment. Despite the weight, the bear covers short distances at speeds, and get this. So if you're driving your car through the country, yeah, the bear can run up to 30 miles per hour. 30. Think about that. That is crazy. That's fast. Brown bears are generally loners. However, they need to communicate with other bears, so they seek out other bears, especially during the mating season. Now, bears have a particularly good nose, we know that one for sure. Their sense of smell, they can smell things for miles and miles away. So, for example, um, I mean, it's not unusual if you come to New England and you're up in the Canadian, or you're heading to Alaska and you are camping out, chances are you're going to see a bear. Now there is, I would say New Hampshire, when I went over to New Hampshire a number of years ago, just day trips even, near the White Mountains, at the base of them, there's bears all over the place in certain areas. I'm not kidding you. No, no, yeah, there's just tons of them. So brown bears are in the wild, and they usually come out dusk into the night. So, wild brown bears can live between 20 to 30 years, and there is a bear sanctuary in Ukraine. And the oldest bear living there is 43 years old. The brown bear is considered a predator, and even though, I understand that they eat meat, but some of them could be largely dependent on a vegetarian diet, depending where they are. But they are the largest predator still living on the continent of Europe, and the second living in North America. So that all of that info is from Four Paws, if you want to look it up. fourpawsusa.org. Now, um, from the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance Library, it gives us a little bit of the physical um, characteristics, and this is mostly what I'm interested in. So before I get into that, I'll just read you what I wrote down in my book on some of the weights. So Kodiak bears um, can weigh, they can weigh up over 1,000 pounds, and they can be as high as 10 feet tall. The Alaska peninsulan bear is about 8 feet in length, and can weigh between, the male being about 899 pounds and the female about half that, or 500 pounds. The Eurasian bears are about 770 to 1,100 pounds, and also a little over 8 feet long. And the interior, what they call the interior brown bears, are the smaller of them, between the male being about 400 pounds to 298 pounds. Why is this important? Because it really gives you an idea when you're creating your structure. If you're creating something that's perceived as hefty and big, or it's perceived as slight and small. So, yeah. So, let's see here. We'll go over here. The largest bears of the brown bears have access to meat. So these would be the larger ones. So, the bears that are a little bit smaller of the brown bears eat vegetables. Now the colors is kind of what really has me excited here. I mean, seriously, just take a listen. The colors vary from a pale tan to blonde to gold, many shades of brown to near black, and gray and silver. I mean, now they're talking about the variations of the colors. So this could be on a bear. Um, so, but maybe there's a bear that has more blonde, or a bear has more gold, but there could be a bear with these varying colors and tones. Black and partial black fur phases in Eastern and Central Asia. Grizzly guard hairs often pale at the tips. So they're saying with the grizzlies, the whatever color they are is going to be lighter at the tip. So there's that variance of color going. Under fur grown in the fall, molted in the spring. Okay, so then it goes into the teeth. And so I wrote down some of the characteristics of them. And they have less prominent ears. So their ears and their eyes are round, but they're not as prominent. Like with the polar bear, you can kind of see their ears sticking out. With the brown bear, their ears are more back, like you're not going to notice it really quickly. Their shoulders, they have a big hump. And so these are the bears that are walking that you've seen on the TV or you've seen in pictures. So they're walking and they have this hump right on the back, in the middle of the back of their shoulder blades. They have longer, straight claws. So their claws are not going like this, but they're more going out like that. Let's see here. They give a detail on the characteristics of the teeth. So I find this very interesting. Okay, so this is from San Diego Zoo. So they do have an image here of this. I'm going to tell you, I'm totally blown away. I cannot get this out of my mind right now about the varying colors of the bear. So this is a picture. I can show you this. They want the image credit, though, for you to know it's from San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. So the bear is, the colors can vary. Again, I'm going to read this again because it's amazing. From pale tan to blonde, gold, and many shades of brown, and near black, gray, and silver. So this is an image of a bear with the hump on the back. So when we do our needle felting, this is huge for the brown bear. It's absolutely huge. If that feature is not part of the needle felted piece, then you have not made a brown bear. You don't want to say that you've made a brown bear. Now, in my opinion, right? Anyway, so I'm really excited about this because now I'm going to share with you. Now, I am not, as you know, I'm not an artist who does realism. I'm abstract, I'm creative. I'm the type of artist that, hey, no pressure, absolutely no pressure to do something an absolutely certain way. If someone tells you that stitch needs to be this perfect and it has to go this way and that way, I'm the artist who says, if you can't do it, or that's not the way you want to do it the way you want to do it. My only thing is make sure it doesn't fall apart. And anybody who knows me will hear me say that over and over. But take a look at this at the wool. It looks like fur now that I'm reading about the bears. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've had this in a plastic bag, and this is a very good example. Look, this is already felting. Look at this. Not like the felting I want to do, but this is felting. Now, what is felting? So felting is when the fibers, okay, are hooking into each other and hooking together and staying together. They're melding together. And this piece, this wool is so interesting to me because just as I was reading all of those colors, I'm going to show you something. This wool, I think, well, it was in the same bag, but I want to show you as this wool. Now, this is a darker brown to black. So I do want to make a black bear. I'm going to make it smaller comparatively to my polar bears that I have. But if you check out this, let me just bring you along with me for a moment. It's starting to get dark out. We have a storm coming. But look at this. If you look at how dark it is here, and then right here, look, it's even light. And then even if we go down here, we've got a little bit of blondish orange almost. Okay, up here, it's a dark tan. Here, it's a light tan. Here, it's almost a white beige, like a beige. We've got a little more beige. But the colors in this, and this is from, and it can even give an effect of silver. So basically, it's got like just about all of the colors we just read about what are found in the brown bear. Now, this because this has this is from a different sheep, I believe. It looks very different. So in the structure too. So, but this, if you look at this, there's different streaks. It's almost like having a beautiful hairdo, isn't it? Seriously, there's lighter streaks of brown and then darker brown and almost, to black. So if I have all of the colors, like there's even, I even have, well, I don't know about this. We don't know if this is like an orange or a golden, but if this is blended, this is actually roving. This is not, I mean, it's sheep's wool, but all of the texture of the wool is washed out and combed. So this is what they call roving. So this can be used also uh, as a melody of beautiful colors in this bear. Now, am I going to have the bear striped with, dark and light and this and that? Um, no, probably not, but you could. There's no reason why you can't. But what I am going to do is I I seriously will probably take the natural, because this is natural. This is blending with the darker tan, lighter tan, beige, a little golden in there. I mean, this is pink. This is lovely. So I think I'm going to go largely with this for my brown bear. Okay, so now with that said, if I add any of the darker, I will come back for this, but I'm going to put that away. Now, what I do as I go along is I just first focus heavily on making my base pieces. I don't start right out of the gate like, oh, this is the shape. I get my general shape that I want. If I want like a cylinder or an oval or what I want for my shape of the body. So, for example, for the legs, yes, it would be a cylinder. And then I can shape those legs a little for with the brown bear, they're going to be heftier legs. Now, for the face, I'm going to kind of do like a triangle. That's how I'm going to start. And now, this I didn't read to you. I guess let me say this because this is from memory, but it must have been on another page. The brown bear, its snout is almost as they describe dished in or pushed in it comes, it's like almost like a shelf, you might say. Um, However, I'm going to, the closer I get to that, I'll be studying it more. So let me just do this just to show you what I mean. So the brown bear, it's, I'm gonna draw this. It's, for lack of a better way to describe this nose and the ears. So this isn't a very good drawing, but it gives you an idea. The snout is prominent. Now, I don't know if it's a perfect rectangle or square yet or any of that because I'm still studying it too. But the ears are round and they're like almost not, they're elusive almost. And the eyes are small and round. And you're comparing this bear to, let's say, the polar bear. So, the polar bear, we have more of this. You can see the ears, the eyes are bigger. This kind of looks like a dog, but I'm going to show you. But they kind of look like dogs almost. So the polar bear is a little more triangular, has angles there. Eyes are a little bigger, the ears are a little, and the nose. But this, you see the difference. So kind of that's what I have in my mind. I'm like, okay, so the closer I get, the more I'm going to study the anatomy. And I'll bring you with me because I'll be pointing out these differences. So what I want to do today, what I typically do is just start a cylinder because there is length to this bear. Now, the bear, the brown bear is going to have a hump in the back. So we're definitely going to be shaping all of that. Now, I don't want to inhibit anybody's creative process. If you want to start with the hump and this and that, you absolutely can. For me, it tends to just come along and develop into it as I'm studying and really start studying what I'm making and what's in my mind at that point, and then I start shaping it. And you see it because you're shaping it with your needle felting needle. So with that, what I'm going to do is start my centerpiece, and I'm going to pull this apart, and I'm going to what they call kind of make, for lack of a better description, splay it, pull it apart. And I don't want pieces like this. I want to pull that apart completely. And I want those pieces to go different directions. I want them to go horizontal, vertical, diagonal, the other way diagonal, upside down, and and that's how I want. And I definitely want to be patient in the beginning of this process. And the reason is, and here's another, and you're like, well, Carmella, that's all together. That's like pretty melded. And I was just pointing that out, right? That it's actually already felting by itself. So why not go ahead and just needle felt it? But the reason is this: what you want is a substantial hooking. You want a substantial felting with your needle felting. And if you want to do variations with wet felting of it along the way, these pieces being pulled apart are in perfect condition to be felted, dry felting, or wet felting. But the dry felting, they will hook together more thoroughly. You won't have air gaps. if they are left in this situation here, if they are left in this type of condition, you see the fibers all going the same way. So when you start needle felting it, it's not going to do much. I'll show you here. This is not needle felting. That is not a quality needle felt. It's together, but it's not quality. Now you take pieces like this and you're pulling them apart and you start needle felting. I'm going to start with this tiny little ball or cylinder. I'm heading towards a cylinder shape and I'm going to put this down. Now, when I needle felt these pieces as they start coming together, I'm going to turn it this way now. I'm turning it different ways because the wool breathes. It breathes. It has space. So the more you can felt it to tighten up its consistency, let's say, to create less air spaces, the more solid, let's say, you will get more of a solid form. You will get a solid mass that doesn't squish. You don't want it to be squishy. When we're done with this, we're not going to be squishing it. We won't be able to squish it. It will be a nice, solid mass. So that's what you're heading for. Now, some people say, well, Carmella, why don't you put armature in there? And so that's a type of needle felting also. You definitely can use armature, which means wires or some type of metal. Some people will put a box in the center of something, or they'll put styrofoam in the center of their wool. I don't do that. Now, the reason they may do that is for some people it may be expensive to get wool. We don't have even as many sheep farms in Vermont as we used to have. So they may do that. They may fill that space. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a right, it's not wrong or right. I do 100% needle felting wool. And it lasts. I have pieces, as you know, I've shown you on the station channel, that's 20 years old. I mean, these last wool is crazy. I mean, it's water resistant, it's fire resistant. You can cut it, you can sew it, you can stretch it, you can shrink it. It goes on and on. It's amazing. So I'm going to continue like this. And we'll get this one piece. So you notice I'm putting it different ways. I'm folding this over now at this point. I'm keeping my needle felting needle, as straight as I can. Now, is it wrong? Is it the end of the world if you've come in like this? It's not, but the tip could the tips seem to be very sensitive to that. And they could break on you in that respect. So now I've got this, I'm getting this is becoming more solid. It's beautiful. And you're like, oh my gosh, Carmella, how big are you going to make this bear? This is going to take you forever. With the center of it, at the beginning, this building it from like a little egg, right? Takes a little bit. However, it's totally well worth it because that's what you're doing. You're building your bear or whatever it is that you're making. And if I'm making a smaller project, I can work with these really smaller pieces. and get them solidified. So then, in that respect, a little bit quicker because it's smaller and it's not going to take me as long to keep stacking and splaying my wool onto this piece. So now you can see this is getting solid. This is so beautiful. I am seriously, I can't, I'm beside myself right now. I'm totally beside myself because now I'm going to give you another concept of the layering and the stacking and why it lasts so long. And I'm going to compare it to Da Vinci and all of the famous artists. Oh, I'll give you a good one. A Mona Lisa has many layers, like crazy amount of layers of paint to get to all the tones and the reflection and inflection, everything that he wanted in that painting. Um, so it's almost like that, only in needle felting. You want this to be a substantial piece of work. So anyway, this is the tiny little beginning of a brown bear that it can grow up to 1,100 pounds. And so with that, we're going to, from here, I'm going to give you a little music. I'm going to splay a little bit and show you how I add to this little cylinder, this little piece. And with that, I hope that you have a beautiful. One other technique I wanted to show you, especially if you are a beginner, is now as I begin my body of the bear, I could just like go this far and put it to the side and then take the other shapes that I want and just kind of lay them out. And I'm going to show you how, like this. Just so, like, you've started your project and now you're like, okay, well, I need to stop needle felting for today and I'm going to come back to this. But when I come back, I really want to have my pieces to my bear kind of laid out, just so I am having a little bit of a head start. So if you want, you take some pieces that are kind of comparable to the size or the amount, let's say, of wool that you're thinking about. So let's say these might be a sufficient amount of wool to start with for the legs. So what you would do here is start splaying all of your wool, and you would splay it to the point where it's nice and fluffy. You know it's going different directions, and it's not kind of in its clumpy form or raw washed form, but you have pulled it apart. You know it's ready and good to go to be needle felted. And then when you come back, you can certainly, do this, kind of refresh it and revamp it again when you're ready to needle felt it. But kind of do that. And some people even go as far as weighing the wool because they want to make sure they have the same amount of wool in each of the legs. I have done that. I have a little scale that that works on that. And to tell you the truth, I'm totally fine doing it by sight. It looks fine. So now I've pulled that all apart and I'm kind of like, I want this, I know I want this to be a leg. So I'm going to at least get this felted into its somewhat of its shape, and just to give me an idea as to um, the width that I'm working with, the length that I'm working with, what the wool is looking like, and all of it. So this felted a little bit. Now look, you can see right here. This is a piece I didn't pull apart, so I really don't want that there. And you can tell the difference if you look here at these pieces. This is all pulled apart. I started the felting. These are clumpy, and this is not high quality needle felting material at this point. This wool, it needs to be splayed. So anyway, I have begun that. So now this is just together, just a tiny bit, just a little bit for me to know I have the beginnings of a leg. And I don't have lots and lots of wool. So when I do my next leg, when I do this one and I have them side by side, I can see they're about the same length, about the same width. So I know I'm working with somewhat of the same amount of wool. So you lay out your legs. You can do this, make 4 of these like that. And of course, this is not nearly done at all right. We're just laying a raw, rough, what you might call a rough draft. But then you at least have your legs. Now, for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a closer look at this brown bear between now and the next video. I am going to use my little sketchbook. I will be giving him a body and the feet, the legs. I want to know with the brown bear, are his hind legs higher than his front legs, like the polar bear, or vice versa? So, and are his back feet the same as his front feet? In the polar bear, they're different. So these are all really interesting questions, and I just love it. So anyway, with that, I wanted to just give you that idea. Lay out your 4 legs. You're starting your body. You're like, oh, Carmella, you've got to be kidding me. But trust me, this builds up really super fast. This is only part 1. So on part 2, we will have a body, trust me, for the bear. And now for the head. You know, he seems to kind of have, you know, the snout is coming in, and it overall, if I looked at this picture, overall, if I wanted to, I could go, I'm going to draw dots. I could make a triangle. That's what I made. So I could splay out my wool for a triangle, for a triangular shape, just so I have a base to work with. So looks kind of, it could even be a little boxy. I could work with a boxy type of base too. So I will share with you in the next video my experience on that. We'll take a closer look at the head and how that comes out. So I hope all of that helped. And with that, you have a beautiful